Hey everybody, just grabbed some food. I figured I would appease one of the comments that said to continue with my research on what I've discovered about the inner self of a particular type of person. I want you guys to know I never write any of these videos. I don't script them. I don't necessarily think about what I'm going to say. I do a much better job of getting it out there if I just let it go. So I guess it would be considered a stream of consciousness kind of a situation, which is how I've always done everything. If I practice something, I always mess it up. But if I just speak to you and whatever happens, happens, then I kind of get across what I really want. So for years and years and years, I spent time trying to figure out within myself why I couldn't necessarily align with exactly what I thought, exactly what I believed, exactly what I wanted. Now, I had a lot of traumas in my young life that kind of put a wall up in a certain neural pathway for me. And I had to go and I had to figure out a way around that. And, you know, through the military, I started doing a little bit of inner focus in the military. The military is kind of an ego-boosting situation. So it's difficult to try to discover who you are and what you are through that kind of a lens. But I didn't give up on it. I wanted to know what makes me tick. What are my signs for when I'm going to cause trouble to myself? What are the symptoms afterwards when I committed something that wasn't in line with my nature? And, you know, how do you get to a point where you recognize that before it happens? And how do you stop yourself from even wanting to do that in the first place? Now, I'm not talking about anything terrible, just little things. You know, lustful thoughts in your mind, stuff like that, stuff that, you know, this type of person is striving to defeat from a very young age. I remember walking through my high school and being a bit awkward. I didn't have any friends. You know, I had a couple acquaintances, you know, Blake. I had one best friend, Anthony, that I met in 5th or 6th grade, debatable between us which one it was that we became friends in. By the way, Anthony was Miss Neeson's class in 5th grade in the G-Pod. But that's neither here nor there. So I wanted to discuss a little bit. I posted a video called the Blacklights, which is a type of empath that, unless I'm stepping on someone's toes, that I believe perhaps I'm pioneering this particular type of person. Not that this type of person didn't exist, and not that this type of person hasn't figured it out in the past, but I do want to reach out and help others in a situation like mine, especially in this world that we exist in now that makes it very difficult for someone like us to deal with it. So, a person in the category that I'm in, the Blacklight, the Heyoka, I'm kind of a mix between the two, is from a very young age introspective. We are always speaking to ourselves. Not the standard monkey brain that you hear in meditation. That's not what I mean where it's just constantly chattering. No, I mean it is a deep, deep, analytical, most oftentimes critical version of ourselves that we deal with inside. And a lot of the time, we are kind of hateful towards ourselves because we have a certain expectation. I don't know how most of us get this information. For me, it was delving deep into the Bible as a young person, reading things like where Jesus in the Bible, who I call Yeshua or Yahusha, where he would say, any man who looks at a woman with lust in his heart has committed adultery with her already. So for me as a young man, when I read that, I took that extremely to heart. I remember not even looking at a woman at all if I thought she was attractive, out of fear of committing that sin inside me. So I had a very strict sense of morality. However, after the car accident, probably I have CTE, which is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I've never been diagnosed. I had a lot of impulse control issues. And what I mean by that is as soon as I thought of something, I felt like I had to do that something. And if I didn't do that something, it seemed to me that my world might explode and collapse on me. That, coupled with an intense inner dialogue, an intense, I wouldn't classify it as another personality in there, but what I would classify it as, your perfect aligned soul already exists in here, kind of like it's sitting in the middle, And when you bounce to the right or the left of that, you know it. And one of the problems with having impulse control issues is finding a balance between what you can do and what you can't do, and how that aligns with you and how that may affect you if you do it one way or the other. So I spent a lot of time analyzing my thoughts. I spent an awful lot of time in meditation trying to figure out exactly what this is. I found out that impulses can be controlled with a number of different things. You could change your diet to include less meat and have more veggies, more of a non-anxiety driven diet, something that doesn't have a lot of lactic acid in it. Things like that certainly help with impulse control. But something that I had to learn is that even further beyond impulse control, this type of personality has to truly believe, truly trust in that inner personality that they have. If you don't trust it, you may believe something, but on the other side of that coin, you don't believe hard enough that you'll commit to every single thing that you believe. That's when it causes trouble, because you know you ought to do something, you believe you ought to do something, but you don't. And it leaves you in kind of a state of confusion, if I'm honest. It makes you wonder, like, why am I like this? Why am I so bad? Why am I so crazy? And I also deal with, I don't know if any of you do, please let me know. God, let me know, please. I get songs stuck in my head, but sometimes it's multiple songs at once, 2 to 3 different songs, and they'll be playing different parts, and it'll just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. That, I think, might be from the car accident. But the Blacklight specifically is a type of person who finds themselves in extremely dark situations, around the wrong people, in the wrong crowds, going to the wrong places, being in all the same spots that the bad kids are in, but not necessarily doing any of that bad stuff. You just want to be around these people because something happened to you when you were younger that makes you believe that you are dark. Maybe someone told you that you were dark. Maybe someone told you there was something wrong with you. Maybe someone made you believe that without their approval or their permission that you were nothing. That can be an intense roadblock for a young person, specifically an empath. So when that happens to an empath, we develop a type of dark nature. A lot of us will draw morbid drawings, like, I don't know, when I was younger I would draw like a girl who half of her body was a skeleton and half of her body was flesh, and the flesh was like falling off the skeleton body. But when I drew it, I didn't think anything bad from it. I wasn't thinking about death. I was thinking more about the beauty of what exists behind the frailty of this situation that we're currently in called life. And it was beautiful to me. I remember one of my favorite poems I ever wrote was called Two Lovers' Corpses Buried Beneath the Clay. And it was about 2 corpses who had died far apart from each other, and over the years, erosion caused the dirt and the soil to move them closer together. Then one day, it moves them so close that they touch, and at that moment, both of them can finally move on from this life. That kind of thing to me is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I remember picking horrible friends to hang out with because I wanted to be in the fun situation, sure, but I wanted to help them. I felt like their parents didn't care about them. I felt like their grandparents beat them or their dad molested them. I knew something was wrong, and I wanted to be a part of that so that I could give to them what I felt like I was lacking. That's something I have always done, given to people something that I felt like I was lacking. So the black light is a person who may think about themselves as a black, like a soul, like a dark soul, but they know deep inside that the only thing they want for this entire world is to have better than what they had, is to have peace and happiness and love, because you know that they're suffering, and that is not what you want. So I had that inside, but also I was showing signs of a Heyoka empath. Now, using the term Heyoka empath can be considered an appropriation by some. The Lakota tribe keeps that sacred. They do not call anyone Heyoka unless they have earned it and they have truly seen it. So for all you Lakota, anyone who may see this, I honor you and I respect your culture. I love your culture. I am a Muskogee man, and in the line of my family is the Chiefs. Chief William McIntosh, his picture hangs in the Atlanta airport, is one of my uncles 5 generations ago, I believe it was. I'm also related to one of the current chiefs, which I believe are the McCormicks. Pappy Neil McCormick was a famous musician who invented a tabletop guitar. When he was around, he wasn't allowed in Georgia because he was a Native American man. But for some reason, Hawaiian men who look exactly the same were allowed in Georgia. So he pretended to be Hawaiian. He learned to play the ukulele, and he toured all around Georgia so he could play in the bars. And then he invented the tabletop guitar, and it's in the Nashville Music Hall of Fame. So you can look that up, Pappy Neil McCormick. I'm related. But as a Heyoka, self-proclaimed, okay, so if you want to write me off, that's okay. I've always been kind of trickster. I've always been less serious than others around me would ever want for me to be. You may say something like, my lizard died, okay, and they're sad about it. And I might accidentally make a joke about that, like, I don't know, I don't even know an example, but making jokes about situations that are extremely serious, because you know that they're not as serious as everyone thinks. You take them seriously. You can get your tasks done. You can get them done well. You can get them done on time, perfectly. But you also know that behind all of that, that life that we have built, the structure of this place, the paradigm of this earth, right now, is a huge illusion. It's absolutely fake. It's absolutely stupid. The world that we live in is a big mess. Anyway, one second. Okay. But, so as a Heyoka, I was never very serious. I love every situation that I've ever been in my life, but I couldn't take it seriously the way people want. I just couldn't. I like to play little pranks on people. For instance, if my wife says something like, I really hate it when people do this or that. I don't know why, but for some reason, I come in and I kind of make it seem like I'm doing this or that in a joking way. I don't want her to think it's serious. I don't want her to be offended. But some people don't know how to take it, because what I'm trying to do is to teach them that the situation that you're most afraid of, the situation that you want the least to occur in your life, it's also an illusion. It's also fake. It has nothing to do with anything, but it causes you anxieties because of some trauma that you experienced that you don't remember. But I know that. So as I play these little jokes, I laugh about it in my head. I think it's hilarious. And a lot of times people take it wrong. And, you know, you got to be sensitive. So as a Blacklight or as a Heyoka empath, you do have to understand some people won't get it. But it's difficult. A lot of times we're the class clown. A lot of times we get in trouble for talking too much or not understanding something because we think it's hilarious. So if you're this kind of person, I'm searching for you because I have a lot of answers. I know what we need to do. What I can leave you with today is that you need to spend a lot of time alone. Because what you should do before you get out in the world, before you start influencing people and trying to help them break through the boundaries of seriousness in their life, of sternness in their life, of taking things for too much for what they are. Instead of doing that, go home, be alone, sit with yourself, learn all of your own energies, what your energies feel like without other people around you. Because that's insanely important. You have to know exactly who you are. Go in the woods for 3 days, fast. Look at everything in the forest that you see. Every caterpillar, every butterfly, every deer, every bear, every wolf, every stick, every tree, every cloud, every wind gust, everything. Pay attention to it all. How does it make me feel? How does it react with my skin? How does my soul feel about this? Am I happy? Am I sad? What's coming out? What emotions am I experiencing? Know yourself before you can know anyone else. It's just impossible for you to do your work here on this planet, truly do your work, if you have no clue who you are. It's monumentally important. What I would really like from you guys is to shoot me some questions. If you're like me, if you're wondering, why can't I get my shit together? Why can't I do what's exactly lined with my soul? What is wrong with me? I'm driving myself crazy. Why can't I be who I am? Message me. because I figured it out. I know how to be myself from its origin to its ultimate. That's a quote from Sadhguru. I'm not stealing it, but it's true. I want to help you learn who you are. That way, we can band together and become the rainbow tribe of green warriors who actually brings peace and love back to this planet. I don't care what any prophecy says. It is possible for us to take this planet back and give it to Mother Earth and love one another in the way we're supposed to, in the way that I love you. Anyway, guys, I'm here at my destination, so talk to you later. Love ya. Hey, Heyokas!